Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Simplified Basic Concepts. In this video, I'm going to discuss about Henry Fayol's 14 Principles of Management. So let's begin with the introduction. Henry Fayol is also known as father of modern management theory. He brought out some 14 basic management principles which he felt could be used in all management situations, irrespective of the organizational framework. That is, whatever organization it may be, these 14 basic management principles can be applied to it. The Fayol's principle of management is practiced by the managers to organize and regulate the internal activities of the organization. He concentrated on accomplishing managerial efficiency. So these 14 principles will help the managers to work out more efficiently and effectively in the organization. Now let's see what these 14 basic principles are. These are namely division of work, authority and responsibility, division, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual to general interest, remuneration of personnel, centralization, scalar chain, order, equity, stability of tenure, initiative, and Espirit De Corps. Now, at times it becomes very difficult for students to remember all these 14 principles. Right? So I have come up with two shortcuts by which these 14 principles could be related and remembered. Now, it is DAD, UC, USSR, OIC. Now, these DAD, UC, USSR, OIC is the initial of all the 14 principles by which the student can memorize it. Like DAD, DAD stands for division of work, authority and responsibility and discipline. While U stands for unity of command. C, where S stands for subordination of individual to general interest, E stands for equity, and E again stands for Espirit De Corps. In USSR, U stands for unity of direction, S stands for scalar chain, another S stands for stability of tenure, and R stands for remuneration of personnel. O stands for order, I represents initiative, and C stands for centralization. So if somebody learns that you see USSR, OIC, by relating these terms, they can easily memorize all the 14 principles. Now, another shortcut to it is I decode USA, USSR. Now, I decode USA, USSR again are the initials of all the 14 principles, where I stands for initiative. In decode, D stands for division of work, E stands for equity, C stands for centralization, O stands for order, D again stands for discipline, and E stands for Espirit De Corps. In USA, U stands for unity of command, S stands for subordination of individual to general interest, A stands for authority and responsibility. And in USSR, U represents unity of direction, S stands for scalar chain, S again stands for stability of tenure, and R stands for remuneration of personnel. So if somebody has problem, they can use these shortcuts to memorize all the 14 principles. So now let's go into details and understand what these 14 principles actually mean. Let's begin with division of work. Henry Fayol said that division of work should be used in every organization. Now, dividing the full work of the organization among individuals and creating departments is called as division of work. So, Henry Fayol said that in an organization, one individual should not be responsible for completing the entire work. That is, let's take an example of a car manufacturing company. Now here, one employee or 2 or 3 employees are not responsible for assembling the entire car. There are few people who have the expertise and who are fit the tire of the car. Now few employees, they fit the seat of the car, and few employees, they fit the engine of the car. So likewise, there are group of employees who have been given a particular work to do, right? This way, there is division of the work. So the employee A who fits the tire along with the employee B, whose work is to fit the seat of the car, and employee C, whose work is to fit the engine of the car. Now these three employees will have the expertise in their own work, and they will do their work and will lead to completion of the complete work, that is formation of a car. Now this is what Henry Fayol said, that there should be division of the work. Now division of work as per him leads to specialization, and when employees are specialized, output will increase, because by specialization the employees increasingly become skilled and efficient in their work. Thus specialization helps to increase efficiency, and efficiency results in improvements in the productivity and profitability of the organization. So this is how Henry Fayol said that division of work will be beneficial for the organization. Now let's move to another principle. Now, another principle is authority and responsibility. So first, let's understand what does the word authority and responsibility mean. Authority refers to the official capacity to make a decision or take an action. For example, a manager might have the authority to make a hiring decision in the organization, or to decide to spend a certain amount of money or something, like choosing a supplier or etc. So this work of manager shows his authority. Now responsibility means the duty which the subordinate is expected to perform by virtue of his position in the organization. That is, every employee in the organization has certain designation, certain position. So by that position he has got certain responsibilities, certain works to do. Now that is his responsibility. For example, a project manager may be responsible for the completion of a project in time and under budget, right? So as per Fayol, authority and responsibility are the two key things in management that works hand in hand. That is, these two should work simultaneously in the organization. He says, while authority enables the management to delegate work. Delegate means assign work. So authority helps the management to assign the work to the employees, and responsibility makes the management accountable for any work done under their leadership. So Fayol says that the work of the manager is not only to give orders or instructions or use his power to give instructions to the subordinates. Fayol says that the role of manager along with authority is responsibility. That is, the work which he assigns to his subordinate, he is responsible. The manager is responsible that his junior should complete that work under the given time. So he should be vigilant. He should keep an eye on his subordinates. He should keep on checking that whether the subordinate or junior has performed the work as per his instructions or not. Now let's take an easy example of it. When there is a teacher in a class, now that teacher is responsible for completion of a particular chapter. When a student is given to take a test, so it's the responsibility of the teacher to see whether the student has understood the entire chapter or not, and whether he is able to take up the test properly or not, whether he is able to answer all the questions or not. So here the teacher has the power to give instructions to the student. That is, the teacher has the authority, plus the teacher is also responsible for the performance of the student, right? So Henry Fayol said that the power of authority accompanying responsibility gives the management the right to order subordinates, along with a duty to be liable for acts of their subordinates. So Henry Fayol says that the manager along with the power of authority, also has responsibility that his subordinate should perform the work correctly. He says that there should be parity. Parity means equality between authority and responsibility. If the authority is less, the subordinate will not be able to perform his duties. Whereas if excessive authority is given to the subordinates, he may misuse it. Right? Now let's see the other point. The third point given by Henry Fayol is discipline. Now, discipline means respect for the rules and regulations of the organization. Discipline is very necessary for the smooth running of the organization. It is one of the core values in any system. Good behavior and civilized interactions make the management work smoothly and efficiently. So Henry Fayol says that in an organization there should be discipline among the employees and employers. That is, both should be disciplined. That is, the discipline here means the employees should try and perform all their works as per the given instructions and rules and regulations. It should not be done just to show to the management or superiors. So there should be a discipline which should be followed in the organization. Now, according to Fayol, discipline can be best maintained by having good superiors at all the levels. Secondly, entering into agreements either with the individual employee or with the union that are as clear and fair as possible. And third, ensuring that penalties are judiciously imposed. Now, penalties here means there are certain pay cuts which the employer at times cut from the salary of the employee. Now, what type of pay cuts can be done in the organization and what type of pay cuts are justifiable should be explained to the employees initially, so that there is no confusion in the employees. So Fayol says that if these 3 points are followed, then there will be a proper and better discipline in the organization. The fourth point is unity of command. By unity of command, Fayol means that a subordinate should receive orders from one superior only in the organization. And if the employee receives order from more than one superior, the employee will not be able to carry out orders in proper manner. So Fayol says dual command. Dual command means command from two superiors. So Fayol says that dual command is the permanent source of conflict in the organization. A violation of principle of unity of command will lead to following consequences. That is, first, there will be overlapping of orders and instructions. How there will be overlapping of orders and instructions? Let's understand this with an example. There is an employee A. Now he has a boss B. Now B gives him orders to do certain works and A performs those works. Now all of a sudden C, who is also his A's senior, starts giving instructions. Now A gets confused whether whose order he should follow first, his superior B's order or his superior C's order. So there is overlapping of orders and instructions here for A. Now the second point says that a subordinate may not be able to satisfy two or more bosses, which may lead to conflicts in the organization. Right? Third, he says that it will be easy for the subordinates to escape responsibility. Now let's understand this point again with the same example, that A is getting instructions from two superiors, that is B and C. Now what will A do? Either he'll get confused in performing both the instructions he is getting from his superior B or C, or he'll choose an easy path and he will say that he is not able to perform any of the instructions given by B or C, so he'll not perform any work. So there the subordinate is getting an easy escape route. right? And the fourth point is it will be very difficult to maintain discipline in the organization. So there will be very less discipline maintained in the organization because the employees have an escape route now, that they'll not be performing all the orders and instructions which are given to them by the superiors, because there is a confusion where there will be less discipline and there will be chaos in the organization. So unity of command is very important. The next point is unity of direction. By unity of direction, Fayol meant unified goal. That is, all the activities of a work unit or group should be directed towards its common objective. Now, unity of direction means activities aimed at same objective should be organized so that there is one plan and one person in charge. If this principle is not followed, there will be unnecessary duplication of the efforts and wastage of resources. So, Fayol says that if there is no unity of direction, if the subordinates are not clear that who is the person in charge and they'll keep on reporting to 2 to 3 people at a time, there will be unnecessary duplication of the effort of the subordinates and there will be wastage of resources of the organization. So there should be clear unity of direction, that is, who is the person in charge for the specific activity and whom should the person report. Now, efficiency in organization will also be affected adversely because of lack of harmony of efforts of various individuals and groups if there will be no unity of direction. So, this too should be followed by all the organizations. Now, there is a clear confusion among students at times between unity of command and unity of direction. So, let's see what's the difference between two terms. Now, unity of command stands for a subordinate must have one superior and he will receive orders from only him. Whereas unity of direction means one unit, one plan, that is unified goal. Now, unity of command has an objective of it is preventing dual command and creating accountability, that is creating responsibility. That is, unity of command's objective is there should be no dual command. And the unity of direction aims that all the activities are aimed at elected goal and plan, right? The activities and decisions in unity of command are made in light of a plan and objectives. And in unity of direction, that is one head and one plan for the group of activities with the same objective. So here the objectives are same in unity of direction. In unity of command, it shows the relationship among superiors and subordinates. So unity of command mainly deals with the relationship between the superior and subordinates, whereas unity of direction indicates the relationship of activities with respect to the organizational plan and goals. Unity of command is concerned with the functioning of people and unity of direction is concerned with the activities focused towards goal. So it's clear by now that unity of command is all about a person and his superior, that is the relationship between the superior and his subordinate, and unity of direction is concerned with the activities and where is it focused so that it could reach its goal. So the next point is subordination of individual interests to general interest. Now, in this principle, Fayol says that the business enterprise as a whole is superior to its individual employees. The interests of the business organization must prevail upon the personal interest of the individuals. Right? This principle calls for the reconciliation of goals of individual with those of the organization. So Fayol says that all the goals of the individuals should be such that it helps in achieving the organizational goals. The individual goals cannot be different from the organizational goals because the organizational goals are more important than individual employees' goals. So he says when the individual and organizational interests conflict, that is, there is a conflict between individual and organizational interest, the organizational interest must prevail. That is, the importance will be given to the organizational interest. The employee should subordinate their interests to the general interest of the concern. Concern here means organization. The goals of the concern must not be sacrificed for the promotion of personal interest of individuals. So in the last point, Henry Fayol says that the goals of the concern, that is the goals of the organizational, must not be sacrificed, that is cannot be kept at a stake for the promotion of personal interests of individuals. Right? And the next principle is remuneration. Now, remuneration stands for the price for the service received. That is, remuneration is the price which is paid to the employees by the organizations for the services rendered by the employees. Now, the pay should be fair to both the employees and the firm. That is, the employees should receive fair amount of wage. It should not be less than what they are working, and the firm should also try to give equal amount of wage to the employees. They should not pay less or more to the employees. If an organization wants efficient employees and best performance, then it should have a good remuneration policy. Now, the best policy should give maximum satisfaction to both employers and employees, and it should include both financial and non-financial incentives. Fayol feels that in order to motivate the employees, apart from general remuneration here means salary, the employees should be given some monetary and non-monetary incentives. The monetary or non-monetary incentives here can be either a bonus or a holiday or some other perks and packages which can motivate the employees. Right? For example, suppose the things are getting dearer and dearer. Dearer and dearer means costlier, and the company is getting good profits. In such a situation, the remuneration of the employee should be increased. If this is not done, the employees will find opportunity to leave the company. So remuneration here is very important principle which should be kept in mind by the organizations. Now, the next principle is centralization and decentralization. Centralization means that the authority or the power is concentrated only in few hands. So in organization, when the power is only in few hands, that is only the few of the top management has the authority or power to make decisions, then it is called a centralization. Whereas in decentralization, the authority or power is distributed to all the levels of management. That is, whatever be your position in the organization, as per that you have got certain powers to take decisions, then that is called as decentralization. If there is complete centralization in an organization, then the subordinates will have no authority or power to carry out their responsibilities or duties. Similarly, if there is complete decentralization, then the superiors will have no authority to control the subordinates. Thus, they will have no control in the organizational objectives. So, no organization can be completely centralized or decentralized. Therefore, there should be a balance between centralization and decentralization. So, the degree to which centralization and decentralization should be adopted depends on the specific organization. Managers should retain final responsibility, but should give subordinates enough authority to take the task successfully. So, if the organization is new and the employees themselves, that is the subordinates themselves, don't have much idea, then at that point of time these organizations can be completely centralized. That is, the entire power can be in the hands of few of the top officials, and they will give certain instructions to the subordinates, And if the subordinates keep on following those instructions, and once the organization stabilizes, then they can decentralize the authority. So in this way, centralization and decentralization is practiced by the organization. Let's understand this with an example. The decision in respect of determining the objectives and policies, expansion of business, etc., should remain in the hands of superiors. So this is how the centralization of the power can be done. And the authority for the purchase of raw materials, granting leave to the employees, etc., should be delegated to the subordinates. Now, delegated to the subordinates, so here decentralization is being practiced. So with this, a balance of centralization and decentralization can be maintained in the organization. The next principle is scalar chain. Scalar chain identifies the path of formal line of authority from top management to the lowest rank employees in a straight line in organization. We can see in this diagram where A represents the top management and F and P are lowest rank employees of different departments. And the line shows the two ladders. The two ladders are the line of authority. Right? So this is the chain of all the supervisors from the top management to the persons working in the lowest rank. Now, clear line of communication is very important for any organization to achieve its objective. And the communication has to flow in an order. Now, what can be the order? It could flow from the top management to the lower level management or as per the requirement. So, the communication has to flow in an order for it to be effective. Now, if there is some information which the top management A has to give to F, then it has to flow in proper order. That is, from A, the message will pass to B, B will pass the message to C, from C, the message will be given to D, D will give the message to E, and finally it will reach to the lowest rank employee F. And in the same way, if F has to pass certain message to A, then again it will follow the same order. That is, from F the message will go to E, then from E the message will be passed to D, from D the message will go to C, and C the message will pass on to B, and finally B will pass the message to A. So here there is no direct passing of messages. The message or communication has to flow as per the line of authority. In the same way, if people of two different departments has to communicate, then again they will have to follow the line of authority. That is, in this example, if we see that E has to pass certain message to O. Now these E and O are of different departments. Then they cannot directly communicate as per scalar chain. As per the scalar chain, they have to follow the formal line of authority. So O will pass the message to N, then N will give the message to M, from M the message will go to L, from L the message will pass to the top management A, then again it will come to B, C, D, and then it will reach to A. So this is the main disadvantage of scalar chain, that it takes too much time as the order comes from the top level to the bottom in the chain. Right? So the exception to this is gangplank. Now what is gangplank? In scalar chain, there is a formal line of authority which has to pass according to the ladder of authority. But gangplank is an exception where there is a horizontal line as shown in this figure, and horizontal communication can be done. That is 3 and C. These both are from different departments. So rather than following the formal line of authority to communicate with each other, they can directly communicate with each other through horizontal communication, which is shown by the dotted line, and this is known as gangplank. So gangplank is an exception to the scalar chain. However, Fayol was of the opinion that gangplank should not be a normal practice as it undermines the established line of authority. So we see here that when C is communicating directly with 3, then they are undermining the established line of authority, which should be via, that is, they are undermining 4, 5 and Z and E and D's power. So Fayol said that one should not make it a regular practice, but whenever it is necessary to avoid delays and distortions, the subordinates should use the gangplank, right? Now, the next principle is order. Here the word order does not mean any command, but it is used in different contexts. As per Fayol's principle, order means right arrangement of things and activities in the organization. So this principle states that there should be a proper order for everything in organization. Fayol is of the view that in every organization there should be a fixed place for everything to facilitate smooth working and avoid wastage of the resource. By everything he means of the employees and of the materials. There should be a fixed place. If an order is maintained for each and every resource, then there will be no confusion and delays in working, and thus it will also help in eliminating the wastage of time, resource and efforts. Consequently, it also helps in controlling the use of financial resources. Now let's understand this with the help of an example. Fayol in his first principle said that there should be division of work. So as per division of work, there are a group of people who do certain works, right? So A is, let's take the example of car fitting. So A has the expertise of fitting the tires, B has the expertise of fitting the seat, and C has got the expertise of fitting the machine in a car. Now, when in a workhouse, a car is being manufactured, so the position of the things of A, B and C and the tire department, the machine department and the seat department should be such that they should be close to each other, or else it will be very difficult for each of them to locate from different positions to make the car. So this is what order means. Now, according to Fayol, in every organization, two different orders are necessary. Material order specifies that there should be a proper place for all the physical resources. It states a proper place for everything. This will eliminate any kind of confusion regarding the search of material, as the place of material is already fixed, and thus reduces wastage of material, time and efforts. And secondly, by social order specifies that there should be a proper place of all the human resources, that is all the employees, in accordance with their designations. Social order states that an appointed place for every employee and each employee. Social order states that there is an appointed place for every employee and each employee at his or her appointed place. Now this order is based on basic assumption of right man for the right job. The next principle is equity. Equity is a combination of kindness and justice. It creates loyalty and devotion in the employees towards the organization. So the equity principle suggests that the managers must be kind as well as equally fair to their subordinates. The managers in the organization should be experienced, good nature and impartial. That is, they shouldn't do any partiality to deal with the subordinates in a proper manner and not do any discrimination among the subordinates. The workers performing similar jobs should be paid the same wage rate. And if the principle of equity is not followed, the worker will not be happy. Whereas if the principle of equity is followed, the workers will be happy as they get fair treatment from the management. They will also be motivated to work harder. Right? So Fayol says that there should be equity, that is, there should be justice in every activity which the organization or the manager does to their subordinates. They should not be partial. The manager should not have any favorite employees whom they should give more preference. The next principle is stability of tenure. Stability of tenure focuses that the management should remove the feeling of insecurity of job from the minds of personnel. Now, by insecurity of job means there is no stability of job in the organization. So the personnel should not feel that his job is not secured in the organization. If the job of the person is not secured, he will be on lookout for another job elsewhere and his work will not be satisfactory. Now, when an employee doesn't perform satisfactorily, ultimately the organizational objectives will be hampered because the organizational objectives will not be achieved on time. So there should be a stability of tenure and a feeling of sense of security in the employees. And how can the employees get that? The management should reassure the employees that their jobs are fixed or secured if they perform their works accordingly. Moreover, the employees should not be rotated on different jobs very frequently because considerable time is required to learn each job. In many organizations, job rotations is being done so as to give a variety of jobs to their employees so that their employees don't get bored by performing the regular work. But the employee should not be rotated very frequently because if they'll be given different type of jobs at regular intervals, they won't be able to concentrate on a particular job and they will not be able to learn a particular type of job. And if this principle, that is the stability of tenure, is not followed, the worker will not feel secured and thus the productivity will be hampered. Whereas if this principle is followed, the workers will feel secured and will show high productivity. The next principle is initiative. Initiative means the ability or opportunity to act or initiate things independently before other does. That is being first or being the icebreaker to start the activity. Fayol wanted that the subordinates should be given an opportunity to take some initiative in making and executing the plans. This is because an initiative gives satisfaction to the employees and brings success to the organization. It allows the subordinates to think out of a plan and do what it takes to make it happen. So by taking initiatives, the workers or the employees will be more engaged in the task which is given to them. They'll feel more involved in the work. That's why Fayol feels that this is one important principle which every organization should do rather than giving same monotonous type of work to the employees. The next principle is Espirit De Corps. Now, Espirit De Corps means team spirit. This is one important thing which every organization should follow without fail. Harmony among the personnel is a source of strength. Unity among personnel can be accomplished through proper communication and organization. Now we know that in an organization there are different departments, there are different levels of employee, each of which have come from different backgrounds. Now there should be a unity among these employees because all these employees together form the organization and they all are responsible for achieving the goal of the organization. So till the time there is no team spirit, there is no binding in all the employees of the organization will not be able to prosper, will not be able to function properly to achieve their goals. Right? So Fayol stressed that this principle is very important for the organization. Fayol warned against two enemies of Espirit De Corps, and these two enemies are divide and rule and abuse of written communication. These two things should not be ever used by the top management because these two enemies if are used by the management, then they will not help in imbibing team spirit in the employees. It will be dangerous for a firm to divide its workers. They should rather be welded, that is, the employees should rather be welded in cohesive and highly interacting work groups. Right? So with this, we come to the end of the Fayol's 14 principles of management. Please like and subscribe this channel, which is Simplified Basic Concepts. Thank you.